The No, it's the Racing Post and Coral's big race preview show as we gear up for another weekend of action. We've got Warwick and Newbury taking centre stage tomorrow with, of course, a big field for the Betfair Hurdle, one of the biggest betting races of the season, and a couple of nice graded races indeed as well. The Denman Chase and, of course, the Game Spirit as well for the 3 milers and the 2 milers. So a little bit of something for everyone. Plenty of other handicaps as well. Warwick, we've got, in theory, some nice races. Unfortunately, they have only brought small fields for Warwick. In fact, the 3 feature races at Warwick all have less for us than the Betfair Hurdle combined. But we potentially have some very nice names lining up, none more so, touch wood, than John Bonn in the Kingmaker. And this weekend, last season, of course, gave us plenty of clues for the Cheltenham Festival as well, though most of them in Ireland. That Nace meeting threw up 3 subsequent Cheltenham winners. We had a couple from Warwick as well, none from Newbury last year, but of course plenty of you will be looking for Cheltenham clues over the weekend, I am sure. It is live and interactive as ever. Please do like that stream if you haven't already. The almighty algorithm must be pleased, and get involved on that live chat as well. Now, joining me in the studio for the first time in 2023 as Paul Keeley locks himself in his room to compile the Cheltenham book all on his own, I imagine, with a chisel and a stone tablet. But luckily, top of the pundit power rankings is Mr. Graeme Rodway.
Top of the power rankings. Good to be here, Ross.
In the studio for the first time. It's been a while, mate.
It's been a long time, hasn't it, since my last In the Know appearance.
It has.
I'm sure I tipped winners. I can't remember. I'm sure no one else can remember.
I think that's why we didn't have you back in. Keels was livid. You were tipping winners left, right and centre. You've had a winner already today over the sticks in the shape of a Tizard winner, which...
yeah,
could be notable for the weekend. They've got a couple of chances at Newbury tomorrow. How are you feeling in general in terms of your gearing up for the spring action?
Yeah, looking forward to it. Yeah, it's a really good time of year coming up, isn't it? We can't wait for Cheltenham, Aintree, Punchdown. Yeah, should be great. Yeah, bit of quieter, isn't it, this weekend? Got to say, there's a lot of small fields, but yeah, hopefully the ground we get a bit more rain. The ground's very quick, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean it's still better than January though, isn't it? I still think we should petition to just scrap it as a month and all go into hibernation.
Hibernate through January, yeah. January can be hard work, can't it? But yeah, we're back on the up now, aren't we?
We are well into to February, and we've got, like I said, 3 or 4 meetings this weekend to potentially get very excited about. Tom Segal is sitting at home, I'm sure, very excited about a sporting weekend. When aren't you excited about a sporting weekend, Tom?
Oh, we're Reading. We're away at Sunderland. Not going to that one tomorrow. That's too far for me. But I'll be watching the racing. We'll be looking forward to it as well.
You will indeed. And any clues so far this week, or anything you're particularly looking forward to this weekend away from Warwick and Newbury?
That's a tricky one, Ross. I haven't looked at anything but Warwick and Newbury. So no, I'll be watching basketball with my son, and I'll be watching football, and I'll be doing all those things. So. No rugby for me, though. Don't like that one.
No. Are you a rugby fan?
I don't mind it. I'm not a huge fan. It is Super Bowl Sunday, though, isn't it? This Sunday.
Is it?
Yeah, Super Bowl Sunday. So that should be good.
I like that one.
Yeah. So you'll be up till 4 a.m. then, Tom. I imagine gearing up.
No, well, I'll do the old record it and watch it in the morning without knowing the score job. Don't get me past about 9:30 these days, Ross.
All right, well, in that case, I'm definitely ringing you first thing Monday morning and telling you the result of that. David Stevens joined us from home as well, with Warwick and Newbury in mind. A little bit quieter in terms of some of the races tomorrow, David. The Betfair Hurdle's very good, and we've got some short price favourites, but I mean it depends what kind of punter or what kind of bookie you are, whether you're excited about taking them on or perming them up.
Yes, good evening, gents. Yeah, look, I think we've been rather spoilt, actually, the last couple of weekends. Cheltenham Trials Day was fantastic. Dublin Racing Festival was brilliant as well. So perhaps a little bit lower key, but any day you've got Jean Bon running, there's plenty of interest. He's that rarest of things, of course, a British-trained Cheltenham Festival favourite. So hopefully he can sort of answer El Fabiolo's performance from last weekend. But yeah, look, there's enough good action tomorrow without any question at the meetings we're going to cover and elsewhere. As always, we'll start the show with a couple of price boosts. The Coral Compiler's feeling very generous. And Paul Nicholls, a man we'll be talking a lot about, I'm sure, over the next 45 minutes or so, got a really strong hand, particularly at Newbury. But we'll go over a couple of his. In the 150, Barbados Bucks. It's currently 7-2, but you can have 9-2 for the duration of this live show, up to 20 quid. And in the race that follows the Denman Chase, Hitman for the champion trainer, you can actually have 11-4 now. I've gone even bigger, this one. 11-4 Hitman, again for 20 quid for the duration of the live show. But it's been another busy week for the Coral Racing Club. We're 60,000 members and counting. And yesterday we launched what really genuinely is a sort of money but can't buy Cheltenham Festival prize. We're asking Racing Club members to give us their most memorable Cheltenham Festival moment. And I might come back to the three of you at the end of the show for yours. Just have a little think about that. Can be anything. Can be backing a 50-1 winner. Could be bumping into Paul Keeley in the Guinness Village. Whatever your most memorable Cheltenham Festival moment is, let us know why. The winner will receive a fantastic day at Coral Cup Day in the Coral Box, 2 nights accommodation, transport to and from the course, and the chance to see the famous, or should I say infamous, TalkSport breakfast show hosted by Alan Brazil live at the track. So well worth entering that. But yeah, I'll come back to you at the end for your most memorable Cheltenham Festival moments, chaps.
Okay, thank you very much, David. I know for sure that Paul Keeley's most memorable moment is not being bumped into in the Guinness Village, as I don't think he remembers any of those moments. But Graeme Rodway will get that in the mind for later on in the show. But first things first, Roll VT producers, because we've got a bit of a members club offer as well ahead of this weekend. 50% off your first 3 months, which of course leads you up to the end of the jump season, and get involved on that at £19.98 per month for 3 months. You get all the replays, all the tips and news, exclusive interviews, and pretty much everything available at your fingertips on that Racing Post members club. So 50% off for your first 3 months. This video is someone apparently going through every possible option of the Racing Post members club there. So there's all that and much more besides. So let's get stuck into the action on Saturday. Hello to everyone at home, by the way, watching at home. Plenty of people on the chat as ever. Tom Leach, Rob Dixon, Graham Mackey, Bertie, Bubba, Guy Axford as well. Hello to Sean O'Connor. Hello to Helen Sheridan. Good evening to everyone watching live. And right. Let's get on the move then, shall we? Over to Warwick. As I said, small fields at Warwick tomorrow, albeit some nice horses potentially lining up. Stolen Silver is odds on for the handicap at 130. Just the 4 runners, because Galahad Quest, it would have been a significant rival to the favourite, is a non-runner. Knight in Dubai is 3-1, Mackenberg is 5-1, and Messiah Deo Bo is at 11-2. Now, in theory, with that absentee in the shape of Galahad Quest, this makes it looks a very, very winnable race for Stolen Silver here, Rodders. Sam Thomas's charge has been in cracking nick. Apart from that, obviously that unseat at Cheltenham between his win and his second, but they're absolutely bomb-proof pieces of form. And in theory, rattling round here on good ground over 2.5 miles should be absolutely perfect for him. Yeah, you would have thought so, wouldn't you? And it just depends on how much of a funny race it becomes, doesn't it? Because we've only got 3 lining up, isn't it? So it could be one of those weird tactical affairs that might not be ideal for Stolen Silver. All of his best forms around Cheltenham in big field handicaps, isn't it? I think he did win a smaller field race around there in April, but yeah. It was only 7 when he won.
Yeah, 7
back in April. So but, and he didn't necessarily dominate, but he was right on the heels of the leaders, and I wonder if Adam Wedge will be messing around here.
I would like to see how they're going to line up before I back him. If they don't,
if he does line up in a prompt position, jumps well, he's going to be 1-2, isn't he?
Yeah. If he jumps off towards the front and ends up the first 4 or 5 fences a length or 2 ahead, he's going to be very difficult to beat, isn't he? Yeah. However, if they bury him in behind the 2 other rivals and it gets a bit tactical, I'm not sure I want to be on him. My gut feeling as well tells me, do I want to back this horse at odds on against the Dan Skelton horse around Warwick? Because he's virtually unbeatable around there, isn't he? I went to the last meeting at Warwick. The first time I've ever been to Warwick, Ross.
Oh, yeah.
It's lovely. Great little track, isn't it? And I think he had 2 or 3 winners that day. Certainly Grey Dawning was one of them. I really fancied the non-runner, Galahad Quest. Really fancied him.
It's a beautiful angle to take. Yeah.
So I don't really have a strong view on the race now that he's out, but I wouldn't back the favourite odds on, and probably would play Dan Skelton's horse at the bigger price.
Okay, that is Night in Dubai at 100 to 30. The Skeltons are in good nick, finding plenty for pressure as well. He had one at Kempton today, get headed by two horses and battle back. A yard's in form, Tom, when they come out fighting on those tight finishers. But are you in the Stolen Silver camp, or do you think he might get beaten as well?
No, I think Stolen Silver will win. I thought he ran really well. I thought that was his best ever effort last time. I thought he went too hard up front. If you'd watched the race again, everything else came from behind, and he sort of stuck on again. I think he's crying out for 3 miles, actually. If anything's going to get him beat, I think it might be quick ground round there. If he doesn't, he'll definitely make the run. He has to make the running. If he sits in behind, he's got no chance. Well, it lessens his chance dramatically. He hasn't got no chance, but it'll lessen his chance dramatically. I'm pretty sure Adam Wedge, who is an exceptionally good jockey in my book, he's one of my favourites. I think he'll set off in front, and the only danger is Night in Dubai. As Rodders pointed out, the Skelton's round there. He will have been trained for this race. It's a valuable race. This will have been his target all season long, so he is a very viable danger, but I still think Stolen Silver will win. I'm waiting for him over 3 miles, actually. I thought he might have a chance in the Ultima Stolen Silver at the festival, because I think he's crying out for 3 miles, and if provided he doesn't go up too much for this, he'll definitely be on my radar for that. I think he'll win this and then move on to Cheltenham.
Okay, yeah, of course he was fourth in the plate last year, but he's 5 to 6 to win the at the 1:30 at Warwick, the opener tomorrow. David, I'm in agreement with Tom. I thought Galahad Quest was the big danger. That one's out, so I'm starting to think that 5 to 6 is actually pretty reasonable. Wow, it is 5 to 6 to jump round and not make a mistake, which seems fair enough given the opposition.
Yeah, and I think he'll be in plenty of short-priced ACCAs tomorrow as a result of the absence of Galahad Quest. Look, he is the most likely winner and is priced accordingly. I didn't think Night in Dubai was such a certainty to follow him home. I thought Mackenberg was in good form, and he went to Doncaster last time over 2 miles. Was no match for Melistic, who we'll talk about a bit later in the game spirit, but got form over 2.5, back over that. I didn't think it's a complete foregone conclusion that the Skeltons would finish second, but yeah, Stolen Silver, the most likely winner. But yeah, disappointing we've lost, obviously, the big danger.
Okay, Stolen Silver then 5 to 6. He's my pick and Tom's, but you might just take him on.
Yeah, if I was going to play in this race, I would take him on. But I could easily see him make all to the same degree. It's not a race I have a strong view on, Ross. No,
fair enough. 2.5 miles then for the opener at Warwick, and just the 4 runner. Stolen Silver is odds on at 5 to 6. Let's move on then, shall we? As we gear up for more fun and games at Warwick, and again another smallish field with a significant absentee in the shape of West Balboa. I interviewed Dan on this show earlier on in the week, and they said that her handicap mark might be just a little bit too tempting to risk it in listed or greater company again. So that she probably goes to Ascot next week. But Love Envoire is 8 to 13, Theatre Glory 9 to 4, Molly's Ollie's Wishes is 10 to 1, Indefatigable is 22 to 1, 28's and Sky Ace, and 50 to 1 the outsider is Malakana here. Another odds-on shot in the shape of Love Envoire, Tom, who again is going to be a bit of a fan favourite as she just keeps on winning. Her only defeat, of course, came in Grade 1 company in Ireland over the spring, and she's come back with a bang with 2 wins. However, this is the first time this year where I genuinely think she's got a couple of live contenders here. Theatre Glory and Molly's Ollie's Wishes both got numbers in the book to suggest that the favourite might not have this all her own way.
Couldn't agree more. Much rather back Stolen Silver at 5 to 6 than Love Envoire at 8 to 13. That's for sure. I thought Theatre Glory was a pretty big danger, actually. I think the ground could be more in her favour than Love Envoire's. I think she likes a bit of giving the ground, Love Envoire. Look, she's by far got the best form, but I think Theatre Glory was in progressive last year. I think she's she looks like she's going to peak for this and then maybe go on to Cheltenham as well. So I think when she won at Cheltenham, I was really impressed with Theatre Glory. I thought she was bang up there with all the mares in Britain. I think she's potentially got a chance of beating her tomorrow. Look, Love Envoire should still be favourite. Of course she should. But 8 to 13 against the 9 to 4, I definitely side with Theatre Glory. I think Molly's Ollie's Wishes might have a bit to do, but she might get the run of the race from the front. Skeltons, as we've already pointed out, very good round Warwick, and she will try and probably run the sting out the other two. But I like Rod has said in the first race, I probably won't play. But if I was, I would definitely be quite interested in Theatre Glory to beat Love Envoy tomorrow.
Okay, Theatre Glory is 9-4, 11 Wire is 8-13. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I also think Molly's Always Wishes does have a bit of a chance. She's a 9-year-old, of course, but as Rodder says, Skelton around here is definitely worth noting, and of course, how good form they're in. But also, I mean, she's run to 136 on her last two starts. She's beaten a 36 lengths. That's the same figure that Theatre Glory put in last time out. She's a course and distance winner. She won this race a couple of seasons ago. I thought 2 mile 5 round here was absolutely perfect for her. She is running into younger legs, but God, it's annoying that if there was 3 places, that 10-1 would be the greatest each way of the weekend. But I still think Molly's Always Wishes might well give the favourite something to worry about.
Yeah, I thought that she had the form to win a race like this. Molly Ollie's Wishes, if you know what I mean. The problem I have is I really like Love Envoy. I absolutely think that she's a great horse. Like, she's a smashing horse. She's really tough and genuine, and
so the heart's coming into play a little bit here.
Yeah. But I do think that she's better on softer ground, or that was my view on her last season, for sure. I was quite strong on her to win that mare's race that she won at Cheltenham, because I thought that it had poured down on Wednesday and she would really like the soft ground. So, yeah, spinning round Warwick, she's really good at Cheltenham. She's really good at Sandown, places with stiff uphill finishes. And now we're spinning round Warwick, quite a sharp left-handed track on quick ground. I just wonder whether she might get outspeeded. But I love her so much, there's no way I can take her on.
Is there a possibility that we don't get her or John Bond turning up tomorrow? Is that a possibility? Is that been talked about on the
It's
ground?
possible, isn't it? Let's hope not.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. She's 8-13, Love Envoy. Theatre Glory 9-4. Like I said, we'll be having a little bit on that 10-1 about Molly's Always Wishes. Fingers crossed, of course, David, all the at the best horses turn up tomorrow. If they do, we've got 3 genuine quality mares lining up here. And of course, this race did throw up a Cheltenham Festival winner last year in the shape of Marie's Rock.
Yeah, and I'm with Rodder's Love Envoy. She's a lovely mare. She probably doesn't get the credit she deserves, actually, but she's plenty short enough, given there has to be a question mark over the ground here, whereas Theatre Glory, of the 3 at the head of the betting, has the least question marks, ground-related. Good third at Kempton last night. She's lightly raced, but you assume that's not because there's anything sort of seriously wrong with her. Maybe she's just a little bit fragile. But she's in the right hands. Of course, she's been well back this week. She was much bigger than the current 9-4 earlier in the week. So she has to be the value play against the favourite. But let's not talk about these star horses not running tomorrow, because it's slim pickings enough as it is. We can't afford to not see them tomorrow.
No, that is true. On the upside, it might make, the place pot a bit more tempting. That's my optimistic take on the whole thing. Scrabbling around for optimism. If the prices stay as they are, I'll be taking a chance with Molly's Always Wishes tomorrow. Rodders?
I'm with Love Envoy. I'm not going to back her. I'll just watch the race. But I want her to win. I really fancied her for the mare's hurdle at Cheltenham this year. I thought she was absolutely made for that race over 2.5, because she looks like she was. But it's going to be a mare's hurdle for the ages, isn't it? Now we've got Honeysuckle turning up, and we've got Marie's Rock, who's absolutely tip-top class. So
it's going to be. I mean, it could well be the race entire festival, which is ridiculous, really.
I'm not sure I fancy Love Envoy to beat Honeysuckle and Marie's Rock and Epatante. But if in a normal year, she would have been a good bet for the mare's hurdle, but maybe not this year.
Yeah. Admittedly, last year's race was an absolute cracker as well. So, what do you make of this race tomorrow, though, Tom?
I like Theatre Glory a bit. I think she might beat Love Envoy.
Okay, very well. And David?
I think it has to be Theatre Glory at the prices. Just a mention of Love Envoy's mare's hurdle price. She's currently 4-1. But the news, obviously, with Honeysuckle earlier in the week going for this has seen her become, I think, probably a fairly short price favourite now at 2-1 for that mare's hurdle. But yeah, what a race that could be.
2-1?
2-1?
22-1.
What's that, Tom?
You wouldn't back her at 22-1, Honeysuckle.
Fair enough, strong words. Let's have a look. Tom Leach is taking on the favourite, whereas Andy Sim thinks Love Envoy will win and Ollie's Wishes will finish at second place. So there you go. Good luck in that Warwick Mares hurdle tomorrow. Let's move on to the Kingmaker, where hopefully we'll see John Bon potentially strengthen his Arkle claims here. He's going to have to after the Irish Arkle last weekend threw up one, maybe two, possibly even three horses who could give him a race. It's another contest that could be an absolute cracker. He's 2-9 to go in again at Warwick tomorrow. Hado de Obo, who comes into this in rattling form, is 5-1 to upset the favourite. Bassrock is 12-1 and Calico is 33-1, the outsider of the bunch. Again, fingers crossed that John Bon actually does make it tomorrow. Admittedly, the second favourite here, Tom, is now rated 1-4-6 after destroying its rivals in a couple of 2-mile handicaps on its last couple of starts. Gary Moore tilting at windmills a little bit, but again, strictly on ratings, as if it was ever that easy. There's not that much to find for Hado des Obo here against John Bon, but of course we're all hoping that he puts in another exemplary round and turns up at Cheltenham in tip-top form.
Yeah, I mean, the Hado des Obo was massively impressive, wasn't he, at the track last time? It was heavy ground, wasn't it? That was a huge step forward. And I wondered whether it was a ground-related thing or maybe nothing else in the race handled the ground. But the time was good. So you've got to, once again, you can't pack 2-9 shots in novice chases. I can't anyway. I mean, I'm sure there are people out there that love them, but Johnny Deneen likes them, that's for sure. But
I remember statistics. I remember someone, I can't remember who it was, but someone showed me that actually odds-on shots in novice chases are the safest bet. Because
that's not a 2-9, they're not in graded race, whatever.
Oh no, I just mean in terms of you think, surely novice chases are the most likely to fall or unseat, but it doesn't actually work out that way because often these races are just they're dawdles, aren't they?
And also the disparity in ability between novice chases and the horses they're running against is, so they don't even have to jump very well to most of them. We see that day in, day out. But I think Hado des Obo will go off. I think John Bon will probably try and match him, might even go off in front. He tends to front run as well, doesn't he, John Bon? Disappointed to see Bassrock in the race. I know we've only got 4, but I'm a big fan of Bassrock, and I was hoping for a nice. I thought he'd run well in the Grand Annual or the Red Rum or something like that later in the season. I hope he doesn't get too close and go up massively in the weights because he's a really, really nice novice chaser as well. I was so impressed with him on his debut at Carlisle. Gave a lot of weight away to a horse that beat him last time, but I still think that's strong form. So I like all 3 of the top horses. John Bon is obviously different class to the rest on everything we've seen and everything we know, and let's hope he wins because we don't want to sit there with 4 Willie Mullins horses trying, lining up in, as the 4 in the front of the market. That's just one thing we don't want. We want John Bon to be there. I'd like him to win. And hopefully Hado des Obo can get there too. But I think he'll struggle tomorrow on the ground against John Bon.
Okay, John Bon is 2-9. I mean, we did see, Sky Pirate got comfortably beaten into second in this a few seasons ago and went on to win the Grand Annual. So I'm not sure, easing into second or third for Bassrock's necessarily the worst handicap prep, Tom. Well, no, but Sky Pirate was rated 150 at the time. He's only rated 151. He'd go up £10 if he got anywhere near these, I think. I don't know what Hado des Obo is rated, so I wouldn't want him 146 Hado des Obo, isn't he? So wouldn't want him to get too close or get in front of Hado des Obo because I think he's a really good jumper and a really nice horse. So he's definitely one to keep an eye on tomorrow. Okay, John Bon though 2-9. In terms of your L'Envoi rating, in terms of how you feel about the horses, where's John Bon stand? Because over the past sort of 12 to 18 months, you're very firmly in one camp or the other, or maybe we've all come together this season and seen the light. Yeah, well, I was kind of against him last season over hurdles. I always thought that he was never going to be a top hurdler. Anything he does is a bonus and all that. A bit like that, yeah. And it's proving a bit like that, is it not? He looks, to me anyway, a far better chaser than he was hurdler, and he was a good hurdler. He won that race at Aintree last season, and he beat El Fabiolo, who of course was the horse who came out and bolted up last week at Leopardstown and is now his main rival for the Arkle. I expect he'll win. I was there, like I said, I was there when Hado des Obo won last time. I was really impressed with him. I just don't think that he's in the same league as John Bon. In fact, I'm not sure there's a novice out there that's in the same league as John Bon. To me, I think he could win the Champion Chase if they went that way this year. I think he'll win it next year. I think you've seen all these Henderson stars down the past 2-milers, haven't we? Sprinter Sacre, Altior, Shishkin, they all won the Arkle, didn't they? And I think John Bon's at least as good as them, and I think he'll win the Arkle and he'll go on and dominate the 2-mile division next season. Okay. David Stevens, John Bon 2-9. His Arkle price is currently, and if he does win this easily, will that change at all?
Yeah, as I say, El Fabiolo sort of staked his claim as the best of the Irish last weekend. He's 7-4 second favourite, even money Jambon. I would imagine, depending on the manner of this victory we assume we'll see from Jambon tomorrow, he'll probably go odds on for the Sporting Life Arkle. Let's hope he does. And this is nothing against the other horses in this race, but we want Jambon to be the real deal and go to the Arkle and, I say, take on El Fabiolo and co. One way perhaps of being with him is our price boost in this race, which is Jambon to win by over 8.5 lengths is 7-4 from 5-4. So there's one way of getting with this very short price favourite. 7-4 that he wins by over 8.5 lengths.
Okay, thank you very much. Well done, everyone, for making those 3 races at Warwick as exciting as we could do there. Jambon to win by over 8.5 lengths, 7-4, out from 5-4. Right, let's get over to Newbury, shall we, and get stuck into some racing. Look at that! Look at those runners, Rodders.
How do they fit them all on the screen?
Can
you believe it?
Mind blown, quite frankly. 7-2, the favourite here, Barbados Books. 5-1 west to the bridge, 11-2 regarding Ruth, 6-1 Jattelui, 13-2 Annual Invictus, 9-1 JBY, 10-1 Bridge North and Flemington for this 3-mile handicap hurdle at Newbury tomorrow. Now, there are quite a few horses in here who come into this in good form. West of the Bridge was an eye-catcher last time out at the Philip Hobbs and Tom O'Brien combination. Jattelui is also in good nick. I thought Annual Invictus was very interesting. JBY is interesting as well with those cheap pieces on. And mainly, Rod, as I was looking at this thinking, I can't quite understand why Barbados Books is a clear favourite here. Maybe it's just one of those races where something has to be top of the tree and it's a Nichols, Cobden in-form runner. But I didn't think his form was necessarily a cut above.
No, I don't know. I won't say this much on this show tonight, but this is quite an open race, isn't it? You know, I fancy Jattelui, who I thought had pretty much the best piece of form in the race. Mm-hmm. And that was at Cheltenham 2 starts ago when he finished 4th. I thought that was a very good run there. The slight concern, I suppose, is that all of his best form is at Cheltenham. But I'm not massively concerned by that. He was beaten last time out at Ludlow, I think it was, which obviously is an entirely different track to Cheltenham, where all of his best form is, like I just said.
Entirely different ground as well that day.
Totally different ground. I must admit, I don't think that he would have been seen to his best effect there. More galloping course, left-handed. Newbury should see him come back to form. I think he's got a good chance, Jattelui. But again, not one of my stronger fancies, Ross. Open race, but difficult race.
No, fair enough. He's a 6-1 shot against the favourite here. We're talking about loving horses, and I have a little bit of a soft spot for a particular trainer in this race. A particular trainer who's got a few chances at Newbury tomorrow, and that's Chris Gordon. Tom, an Annual Invictus, I think could be very interesting. Obviously, it went wrong at Wincanton last time out, but Yada in form, Jockey's in form. He's got a couple in the Betfair Hurdle as well. I thought he could be a live each-way chance against the favourite.
Yeah, he ran in the. Rodders was saying the best piece of form to Jattelui. Jattelui at Cheltenham. He could be right. Annual Invictus was just in front of Jattelui that day. He had a few runs though, and Jattelui was very weak in the market. He was a massive drifter that day and ran better than I think the market expected. I agree that soft ground was a problem and professionally ridden this time. David Maxwell obviously rides loads of winners, but can't compare him to the professionals. And so, I get Jattelui, the Jattelui love. West of the Bridge just getting on a bit, isn't he? He's 10 now. The one I liked was regarding Ruth being off for 600 days or over 600 days, but I think she's 4 from 5 over 3 miles on good ground. And the last time she ran at Newbury, she absolutely smashed I Will Do It, who has gone on to win the Welsh National, the Warwick Chase, now rated 155. I know the ground would have been a bit quick for I Will Do It, but regarding Ruth, mullered him over course and distance. If she's fit after 600 days off, and she has won twice in the past after long layoffs, after over 200 years. 200 years, wow,
that's pretty spectacular. I can't believe that's not the headline for tomorrow.
After 200 days off, she's twice done that in the past. If she's back at her best form, and she's got Eddie Edge on board. I don't know much about Eddie apart from his parents. Called him Eddie after his surname was Edge.
Yeah.
But
his parents, of course, the bassist from U2. He's missed his calling, to be fair. It's the best wrestling name outside of wrestling I've ever heard. But
I actually saw him being listed at Edward Edge.
Edward Edge
earlier. So.
It's a very different feel, isn't it? Edward Edge to Eddie Edge. But
Edge.
he has ridden a winner this season from not many opportunities.
he has, and he looked pretty stylish when doing it. And he gets £10. He claims £10. So regarding Ruth won on her last start at Market Raising off a marker, I think it was 127, 128 today. She won that very, very easily by 6 or 7 lengths. Edward Edge is taking £10 off, which gives her, the handicapper has given her a real shot. So if she's fit and ready after a long layoff, I think she's got a very good chance.
Okay, regarding Ruth for Eddie Edge, for all you alliteration fans out there, an 11-2 shot here, maybe on each a reverse forecast with Barbados books. I think Annual Invictus has a little bit of squeak. But yeah, regarding, there's something about this 3 mile track at Newbury as well, Tom. There's Newbury in general. It's a proper. It shouldn't be by any sort of visible metric, but it's very much a course specialist course, isn't it? Some horses come back and absolutely love it. Zanza, obviously, the first one that comes to mind.
Not about him yet. We got him to come, Ross.
No.
It's fun.
But there's something about Newbury. There is something about Newbury where the horses come back time and time again and perform. But
it's just horses for courses in general, though, is it not, Ross? It's just a general rule about most courses.
Yeah.
Most horses like certain courses.
There you go. David Stevens. No, it is true, but I'm struggling to quantify my point, but Newbury does seem an extreme example where some horses do come here and absolutely hate it, and some horses win by 6-7 lengths. You think, my God, what a performance, and they never seem to reproduce it elsewhere. Anyway, David Stevens, we've gone off track with this one, but it's all these runners. It's gone to our head, I think.
This, without question, is one of the most open races we're going to look at. I thought there were reasons to take on both of the top two in the market. Thomas stated the case for Regarding Ruth brilliantly. I'm just going over in my mind. Edward Edge and Eddie Edge, two completely different people. He can only be one of those tomorrow, and he's going to have to decide who he is, but hopefully he's going to run a big race. And the other one is the one you like as well, Ross, the Chris Gordon horse, Annual Invictus. 2 good runs at Cheltenham. Has got to sort of put that Wincanton disappointment behind, but always forgive them one bad run for a yard in great form. So they'd be the 2 for me. But of course, this is one of our price boosts on Big Bucks. 9-2 up to 20 quid until the end of this live show.
If Big Bucks is running, can I back him at your
Would you back him off a 200-year layoff, Tom? That's the question.
Yeah, with this rate, I would at 9-2.
This segment is the one for the bloopers, isn't it? I blame Eddie Edge.
It is. He's Edward Edge in the afternoon and Eddie Edge in the evening if he wins, I think. But what are you tipping in this again, Rodders?
I'm on Chatterlooey.
Right, okay, very well. Not the only thing we're on, I think. But Annual Invictus for me. Tom?
Eddie Edge, Edward Edge, Eddie, whatever. Mr. Ed.
Regarding Ruth, okay, and David?
Regarding Ruth and Annual Invictus, dual forecast. Let's go for it. And this is Barbados Bucks, of course. Not the legendary Big Bucks. It
is indeed. He might well be sunning himself in Barbados. But moving on, let's go to the Denman Chase then, where Hitman is currently a 2-1 favourite against Eldorado Allen at 11-4. Fanny and Destreval is 100-30. Does he know? Is 13-2. Sam Brown at 10-1. Zanza, here he is, at 12-1. And Kalashnikov at 33-1, the outsider of the bunch. Plenty of horses in here who've had good days at Newbury. Zanza being one of them, Kalashnikov as well. And Eldorado Allen last year, who stepped up in trip and absolutely relished this test. He jumped impeccably, and since then, Tom, he's barely put a foot wrong. Again, this is another one that maybe it's the giving £6 away. Maybe it's the fact that Hitman is kind of contractually obliged to go off at a short price every time he runs, but couldn't quite understand why the Tizard horse wasn't favourite. He seems to set the standard to me, but Fanny and Destreval also seems to come alive at this track. Does he know? Has a little bit of potential quality. He's the unexposed one in the race. As ever, it's a bit of a messy contest, but it does potentially provide you with an opportunity if you fancy one.
Yeah, I agree. 4 of the 6 runners, or the 7 runners, have got first-time headgear on of some description, which tells you all you need to know about it. There's some trainers in there thinking that they're not putting it all in, or there's something up with them. Eldorado Allen is one of them. Sam Brown is another one. Kalashnikov's got first-time cheap pieces, and Fanny and Destraval tends to get behind. So I think it's right for an upset. I'm quite keen on our old friend Zanza Ross back at Newbury. If I think the step up to 3 miles, he will love it. And there's doubts about everything in this race.
Yeah, fair.
Hitman Eldorado Allen, he was good last year, but I thought it was a bit of look, he's the. I think you're right. I think he's the solid one. But why are the pieces on? He doesn't look to me like he ever does anything wrong. Fanny and Destraval's taken to just getting behind and sulking. He was a little bit better at Weatherby last time, but he's a tiny little horse, and I'm a bit worried whether we've seen the best of him. Does he know solid? But I don't think his form's as good as, or as similar level to Zanza in my book. Sam Brown ran shocking last time, and Kalashnikov's had all sorts of problems. So the horse that is 4 from 5 at Newbury and has won both his chases there and won a red-hot handicap, the Peter O'Sullivan handicap by 12 lengths last time, over 2 miles 6, and looked as though he would relish 3 miles, will do for me. I know he was 33 to 1 earlier in the day. It's probably my fault. Now he's around the 12 to 1 mark, but I still think he's going to run really well. He might be outclassed. Eldorado Allen and Hitman might be too good for him, but I think he's a sporting bet on a day when there aren't many sporting bets.
Okay, I've just had this vision. Of Zanza hacking up in the Denman Chase, then going to Aintree and winning the bowl, and then the very fabric of the universe collapsing in around us. I mean, it would.
But Newbury, Ross, we know that. We've told you that many times. Forget him elsewhere.
I know.
He's really, really good at Newbury.
No, you're right. And then Mondamedge wins the King's Stand, of course. Rodders. Hitman 2 to 1, though. I mean, do we? When do you give up on Hitman? I mean, he's still only 7 years old, but how good is he?
Oh, it's the sort of thing you dream of as a punter, is it not? Oh, you wake up in the morning and Hitman's 2 to 1 for a race. You're like, oh, yeah, well, must have a bet in that race because he just is not my kind of cup of tea. Should we say that?
No, that's fair enough.
I just dislike him immensely.
Wow, okay.
I find that he went through this period, didn't he, where he always found a way to get beat. And then I thought he got beat in a race that he should have won, that Aintree. And then when you give up on him, he wins at Haydock, doesn't he, where they change the tactics and do what you should always do with horses that have got a bit of a questionable attitude, which is just not give them the option to throw it away, just stick them out in front and let them go and win.
Just answer the question from the word go, pretty much.
Yeah,
you say, do you want to go past? No, well then...
Exactly, just go, just crack on.
Which they might do. We don't know. They might go back to that.
And he was on springs that day, wasn't he? He was really good, jumped well, but it was a very weak race, and he got his own way in front. And I think that he's a bit soft. That he liked that. He liked just getting his own way, and he might well get that again, and he might well jump round on springs, and then just nothing will get to him, and he might win. But I think it's highly, highly unlikely, and he's a short price that that's going to happen. I mean, he was the most ridiculously hyped up horse for the King George that I've ever seen. I mean, I think I was actually quoted as saying for him to win a King George, everything would have to fall. And they didn't, of course, and he was well beaten. And Eldorado Elen, of course, finished 4th in the King George, didn't he? Albeit, I think, beaten an absolute mile. So, this is surely Eldorado Elen's race, is it not?
Yeah.
You're Joe Tizard, you look at the calendar this season, you think, right, what race can we win with Eldorado Elen? You would say this race again, with the one that he won last year. Tom's right, he's just a solid horse, but you know about this boring question of value, don't you?
Yeah.
This is why I haven't tipped him.
Can't eat it though, Rodders.
This is why I haven't tipped him in the Saturday Sizzlers tomorrow. You know, I mean,
if you go and tip Eldorado at 11 to 4 and he wins by half a length, you're not going to feel anything, are you?
No, it's just, you know, he's a right price, isn't he? You know what I mean? Like 11 to 4 is about the right price.
Kind of, yeah. Although, like I said, I would make the argument that I would make him kind of 9 to 4 favourite, Hitman more 11 to 4.
Well, I think it might end up being like that. We'll see. We'll probably get an idea of how the race is going to be run as well by what the market tells you. That often happens. The market will tell you how the race is going to be run. If Hitman's going to jump off in front, he'll go off 6 to 4 favourite for this probably. But if he's going to face some competition, I think he'll go off 11 to 4 and Eldorado Elen and go off 9 to 4, 2 to 1. I think Eldorado, long story short, I think Eldorado Elen will win.
Yeah.
But I haven't backed him because I think that there's no juice in the price.
No, fair enough. I mean, he's another one like stolen silver. If again, after 2 fences, I'm going to go, I know exactly how I'm going to play this race. But right now, we still have
We
those
just
questions.
don't know.
Of course, Connections had a winner today, David, which will give them a bit of a boost because they were going through a bit of a frustrating patch. But Killer Kane will give them the Tizzards a little bit of a fillip before tomorrow.
Yeah, really good to see. They actually had a winner as well at Huntingdon yesterday, Scirocco's Dream as well. So 2 in 2 days. Yeah, just hopefully they're through a sort of a little bit of a quiet spell that the yard was going through. And this, I mean, Rodders is absolutely right. This is the race they regard as Eldorado, Allen's best target of the season. He's run well this year. I mean, his second to Protectorat was good. His second to Brave Man's Game at Wetherby, obviously. So long way beaten in the King George, but this is a very different proposition. He'll be ridden positively tomorrow. That's what Joe's saying in his blog, obviously, and Brendan Powell likewise. The cheek piece is put on just because he's just been sort of a little bit of a flat spot in the middle of his races. They're hoping to just keep him sharp and keep him interested. So he'll be ridden positively. Hitman, I think Paul Keeley was very sweet on him for the King George Rodders, so we may have to give Keels the right to reply next week, but didn't go for him that day. But he is favourite at the moment, albeit he's the subject of our price boost here, 11-4 for the duration of the live show for 20 quid. And Zanza, very well backed because of our other guest here tonight, but we are 3 places each way in this race, so a bit of extra going there if you fancy the Zanza, which Tom has made the case for.
Okay, Zanza for Tom then. I think Eldorado Allen for both of us, Rodders, and that pretty much wraps up the Dem Chase. We've got that price boost available until 7 o'clock. Let's move on, 2 more races, excuse me, to get through. We've got another Nichols favourite here in the shape of Grenadine for the Game Spirit. He's 4-9. Funambule Civil is 5-1. Melistic is 8-1. Elixir de Nuts is 8-1. Mortlack 50-1 here. And if Rodders has taken a strong opinion against Hitman, I took a strong opinion against Grenadine last time out, and I'm kind of sticking with it, Tom. I think you said I'd gone mad, but he's 4-9 here, and given his, given the official ratings here and his form, I can't quite understand why he's not 1-3 or shorter. And part of me thinks is because I'm still not sure he's that good, and I'm still not sure everyone else thinks he's as good as those form figures necessarily suggest. I think there's a couple in here who could rustle him up, but I think you're going to tell me I've gone mad probably, but Grenadine 4-9 for you?
I don't know. I mean, as I say, 4-9 shots are not my thing ever. So I would never dream of backing Grenadine. I think this is the easiest race he's run in for donkey's years, though, and I think I'll be disappointed if he doesn't win it because I still think he's got a sort of an each-way shot in the Champion Chase myself. I'm not as against him as you clearly are.
Why is it? I mean, genuinely, I know this sounds silly, but why isn't he shorter, Tom? Because I mean, Altior went off 1-3 for 3 years running, and he barely had as much in hand as Grenadine does here. Was it just the name of Altior? I don't know. What is it?
I have no idea. I mean, he's not a horse that the public or the odds compilers have a great deal of respect for, isn't he? Some horses they are, aren't they? I mean, we were talking the other day about Energamy, weren't we? And everyone was mad for him. And people aren't mad for Grenadine and Edwardstone. They're just not. They think they're not as good as their form suggests they are. So that's probably why he's 4-9. I don't know. He's been off for a bit, hasn't he? He's been off since the Tingle Creek. I don't really fancy Funambule Cibola myself. I thought he's been a shadow of his former self this year. I thought the other two, Melistic and Elixir de Nuts, were more interesting. Melistic was impressive, I thought, the other day, but Elixir de Nuts probably make the running. I just found it hard to see them being good enough to beat an informed Grenadine myself. He's pretty solid. With Hitman in the race before, with breaking Bloodfells and this whatever. This he was still in front of Shishkin and Gentleman Demi, wasn't he, when he was second in the Tingle Creek? I think Edwardstone's a pretty top class horse myself. So I think he's going to be very hard to beat. If there was something, when I turned on this race, I thought, like you, I want to find something to beat him. I just don't think there's anything in there that will beat him, or has a.
No, fair enough. I think there's just something about these small field graded races around tracks like Newbury that they throw up a bit of an upset. And like I said, Elixir de Nuts could bounce out and make the run in front of Bill Civil, who is one of those course horses we've been talking about. Melistic was wildly impressive last time out, and to be fair, has got some back class as well. So, are you yay or nay with Grenadine?
I just don't really see him coming off the bridle. He's such a strong traveller, isn't he, Green Teen? And I can just see him tanking along to like the second last, and everything else rowing along, and him still being hard on the bridle. And he's that sort of horse, isn't he? And the good ground will suit him. The Nichols has had a few short price favourites beaten at this meeting in the past, hasn't he? A long time ago. He had the French horse beaten, or the French horse beaten. Was it Lamy beat Couto Star, I think, one year? Maybe, going back a long time. But it's just difficult to see Green Team being beaten because, like Tom says, there's not really anything in the race that you think can beat him.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I kind of know what you mean, but I'll probably play Elixir the Nuts to... It could well be a Tizar double in the big races tomorrow, David. Stranger things have happened, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, obviously, from our point of view, that would be great to see. Our yard have a big race double, but I mean, Grenadine is by far the most likely winner. He's only a 12-1 shot for the Queen Mother Champion Chase. Reasons why odds compilers might be against him, well, he does lose his fair share of races, but he's generally pretty highly tried. Same preparation coming into the races last year. He's clearly the one to beat. If there's one to follow in home, and I will be deserting the Tizard here, is Melistic, the Northern Raider, who's been really good form this year. As I said, we'll get a clue earlier from Mackenberg up at Warwick, but he might be the one for the forecast. But Paul Nicholls, really strong hand tomorrow. He's got the likes of McFabulous as well. So Paul to have 4 or more winners on what is always a big day for the yard. Was 15-8, is now 5-2. That's our next price boost.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Stevens. Then Paul Nicholls to train 4 or more winners at Newbury on Saturday, 5-2, out from 15-8. Let's move on to the big race of the day. Then the last one we're going to have a look at, it is of course the Betfair Hurdle here, and Filey Bay, another Emmett Mullins favourite in a UK big handicap, 100-30, coming off the back of 2 wins. Quite an unlikely Emmett Mullins profile for a horse of this nature. Rubord is 6-1, one of 2 handicap debutants in the race. Master Chewy is the other one at 8-1. Icar Allen is 9-1. Hacker de Place is an on-runner. No Ordinary Joe is 12-1 with Yorksea and Monvial. Other horses in here with chances as well. Dear Mark's in good form. Teddy Blue for Gary Moore has got to have a chance as well. Orcan Risk back over hurdles. Favois, Highway 102, another Chris Gordon horse. It's a decent field, this Rodders, but obviously an Emmett Mullins favourite always puts a bit of a spin on it. This horse, I mean, mark of 117, they had to go and win those 2 races to even start to compete in contests like this. Admittedly, given the fact that Master Chewy's snuck in off 1-2-4, this is probably a slightly weaker Betfair Hurdle in terms of ratings than we often get. But does it worry you, the favourite, and do you have an each-way play against it?
Oh, yeah, of course he worries you, don't he? Because Emmett Mullins, everything he sends to Britain always runs well or wins, and he doesn't seem to have suffered from the problems that some of the other Irish challengers have suffered this season. I think he's 5 for 11 in Britain with his runners. So obviously JP has bought this horse from Paul Byrne, who was the owner of the Shunter, who of course went on to win a big handicap chase after I think being bought by JP, didn't he? So
it could be a Grade 1 horse, didn't he? I mean,
yeah, you could see it happening again, couldn't you? But the good question you have to ask yourself, of course, is do you want to take, what price are we looking at, 100-30 on a horse to beat 17 rivals around Newbury in what is often one of the more competitive races of the year? It'll go a good pace, and who knows what could happen. I certainly wouldn't want to.
What's a more attractive price to your eyes?
I like Gary Moore's runners, but the one that I have backed is Teddy Blue, because he beat Yorksea, who is the other Gary Moore horse, quite cosily over the course and distance in the Jerry Fielden earlier in the year. Albeit, like Tom said earlier, like Yorksea was really easy to back that day, and they were quite strong on Teddy Blue and a favourite, I think, that day to win the Jerry Fielden. First Street won the race.
Yorksea was very strong in the betting next time out when bolting up as well. So
exactly,
the market might tell a story.
And the market has really come for the other one, which is what's slightly concerning me, having backed Teddy Blue.
Although you never know, that might.
I half thought that maybe Tom Segal, when I was looking at the market earlier.
Let's have a quick look at Tom.
I was like, oh, well, I bet Tom's tipped Yorksea. That was what I thought, right? But
that's the face of a man who has, I think.
But
I haven't, to be honest. But it was the one all week I was going to tip, and I didn't tip it because when I looked at the odds, the Race Post website, it had just the prices that were gone, and it was down to 12-1, and I thought that's about right. That's where it should be, and that was the only reason I didn't tip it. I was very keen on Yorksea all week. Now I might have mentioned it to a few people that might have backed it, so maybe that was my fault. But I do think Rodgers is on the right lines with Teddy Blue and Yorksea having good chances for Gary Moore.
Okay, yeah.
He of course won this race, didn't he, Gary Moore, 3 times, like 2008, 2007 and 2015, I think it was. He always targets the race. I thought that was a really good run in Jerryfield, and First Street won it. He's a graded horse. He finished second estate man in the county hurdle, giving him weight last year. I just thought he had the course form, as we've spoken about already, and he'd beaten Yorksea already, and I didn't see the turnaround in form with Yorksea turning the form around. However, the market does. So I might well have a little bit of a saver on Yorkshire.
You've got to, haven't you? Because you'd be absolutely kicking yourself.
Yeah, but I'm fairly confident that those are the 2 right horses that are going to go well if Filey Bay doesn't win, and Teddy Blue is the one that I've backed.
Okay, 2 Gary Moore horses against the field then, Tom. I quite fancy the 2 Chris Gordon horses against the field as well. Any simple way of summing up this race for you? What did you like? Obviously, again, every time we preview a race of this nature, the Emmett Mullins factor comes into it, but you tend to just ignore them personally, because you can't be tipping 130 favourite in this race, can you?
No, he was the first one off the list. Not that he can't win, but he's the wrong price, isn't he? If you're doing it like we would do it, and looking at form and looking at videos and looking at times and stuff, Filey Bay doesn't come out anywhere near the top. So I can't be backing him at 130. I'm quite happy to see him win, because he's probably got, he could be a Shunter or a Noble Yates, couldn't he? He could easily be another one that's got 20 pounds up his sleeve. I expect he probably is, but that doesn't always work out. Doesn't necessarily mean he's going to win this. I thought this was probably the most competitive race I've done all season. I gave a chance to everything, literally everything. I couldn't rule out anything in the race. I thought you could make case for even General's Off on his old Irish form. You could make a case for him. I thought it was almost impossible. So believe it or not, I haven't tipped a horse in the race in the paper tomorrow. I did when I did it ante-post. I was really clever. I was on No Ordinary Joe and Monvial at 12-1, and they're still 12.
Moving markets, Tom. Moving markets. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, well done, genius. So I thought they had good chances. I don't see why they have drifted out in the market this afternoon. Monvial, I thought, liked the good ground when he won at Ascot. I think Philip Hobbs has a good record in the race. He's the least exposed horse in the race, I think, probably, with only 5 or 6 runs to his name. Maybe Robard you could say the same, but I think there's plenty more to come from him. The one thing that put me off Teddy Blue, Rodders, and you might say I'm being nutty, but I think if Gary Moore had his time again, he wouldn't have run at Plumpton or wherever he ran last time, because he'd had £5 less, wouldn't he? At the time, he thought he had to go to Plumpton to get into the race, or wherever it was from.
Lingfield. It was Lingfield. One of the 2, wasn't it?
I think that he did think that. I think he thought he probably needed a penalty to get in. However, I think it might work out in his favour. And I'll give him one reason why, right? Because this horse, Teddy Blue, is a real free-going sort of nutcase type horse. And if he'd gone in there without a run since, when was it, November or the Jerryfield? Yeah. November. I just think this horse would have been too free. And I think running him at Lingfield last week, it was quite recent, might just have taken the freshness out of it. And hopefully he will settle better, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, he does have a profile of a horse who improves for that run. So you might be right. It was like, we'll take the £5 penalty because we just need to get a run into him.
He'd had a run before the Jerry Fielden, hadn't he? He'd been to Kempton to get the freshness out for him, and he's still poor. I don't know. You might be right. I just think that if he had his time again, he probably wouldn't have run because he'd have £5 less. But nonetheless, I get the idea. I personally prefer Monvial tomorrow, but I think it's really, really hard. I just think it's a great race. Really looking forward to watching it. As to what's going to win it, I reckon there's about 14 that have got a shot.
Okay, yeah. I mean, Rhubar's got a chance, hasn't he? Handicap debut. I mean, Rare Edition didn't exactly let the form down. Just seemed to get outstayed, didn't he, in the Sydney Banks? Icar LM was a big eye catcher last time out, although I worry slightly how much he finds off the bridle. I'm interested in Orca Risk. He's another horse, a bit Love Envoi, that's been in my heart. Because I love these horses who just lay it down on the line from the get-go and are so hard to pass. But his form is absolutely rock solid as well. I mean, he was ahead of That's All Right, Gino and Balco Coastal over fences. He's been mixing it with Midnight's Legacy and Marco Gold. He beat them silly. They've all improved for half a stone. John Bon, El Fabiolo and First Street ran with 3 in front of him at Aintree last year. Yeah, I thought back to Hurdle. I can see how he's going to be ridden. He's very experienced and he's very hard to pass. I'd be disappointed if
he was in my top 3, Orcon Risk. He's coming back to hurdles from chasing, which I don't always like in these really competitive races. But he's got the class to be involved. I don't think there's any doubt about that, Orcon Risk. The other one that I liked was Favre, who again has got loads of back class. And he's really well handicapped. Really well handicapped. He likes strongly run races, quick round. Dan Skelton was very bullish about him in an interview earlier in the week, I think, on the TV, Favre. And Skelton's got a great record in this sort of race, hasn't he? These 2 mile handicap. It's a great race, isn't it? Tom said already, like, you can make a case for a lot of these. Yeah.
David Stevens, as we come to the end of the show, place terms, opinions and thoughts on the Betfair Hurdle, please.
5 places each way, for such a competitive race. We've got a price boost on an Irish train winner, which is Emmett Mullins, of course, and his uncle Willie. That's 11-4 from 9-4. It's a couple I've backed, Hacker de Place, so that's already gone down the pan. But I'm in agreement with Rodders on Teddy Blue and Colin Quinn, or Colleen Quinn, I'm not sure how we pronounce it, but he takes off that 5, which hopefully will negate that penalty for that Lingfield win. This one's still got a supreme novices hurdle entry. But yeah, there has been money for the other one, York Sea. The price has collapsed, 25s down to 12s. But Teddy Blue for me with the 5 places each way in this last race.
Thank you very much. So just to sum up, Rodders, your Betfair Hurdle selection?
I'm on Teddy Blue.
Teddy Blue it is. I'll go for Orcon Risk. Tom Segal?
Monvielle for me.
Okay, and David?
Teddy Blue for me.
Okay, lovely stuff. Right, that brings the show to an end then. Before we go, though, let's get the naps on a potentially tricky day to find a really strong bet, but I'm sure the panel will come up with one. Starting with you, Tom, what's the nap on Saturday?
Mr. Edge, Eddie Edge, Edward Edge, Edwardius Edge, whatever his name is. I'm going for him, regarding Ruth.
Lovely stuff. He's going with the EE regarding Ruth. Rodders?
Mine's at Utoxeter. In 2:45 at Utoxeter. There's a really good handicap chase there, a competitive race, and Burrows Diamond finished second in a hot race at Doncaster last time. Storm Control, I think that was also absolutely blew that race apart. They went a solid pace throughout, and then he absolutely died a death over the last half furlong and lost 3 places near the line. But it was a real solidly run handicap chase. I think it's going to be strong form. There's already been a winner come out of it that was well down the field. And Burrows Diamond's lightly raced over 3 miles, only had 2 runs. Sue Smith, I think that this horse is improving. So it's one at the course. We've talked about course form already. Burrows Diamond, 2:45, Utoxeter.
Lovely stuff. I'll go for Molly's Ollie's Wishes to upset the favourite in the Mares Hurdle at Warwick. And David Stevens, your nap, please.
So I was just looking at the price for Rodders. 1 Burrows Diamond is 13-2. I'm going to nap Eldorado Allen in the Denman Chase, of course. And don't forget those memorable Cheltenham moments. Rodders, come on, you must have a memorable Cheltenham moment. One that you can share with us.
Only one. There's only one that I would ever. I would take it to my deathbed with me. I think the greatest race, in my opinion, at Cheltenham was the year that Denman and Courto Star fought off when they both did it for the first time.
I thought you were going to say got beat by Imperial Commander then, but
no, it was when Denman won. I thought that was the greatest Gold Cup that I've seen for sure, and I thought Denman was absolutely imperious that day. And obviously we know how good Courto Star was. Neptune Colonge was third. It was a fantastic race, and I'm not sure I'll ever see a performance that was quite as dominant as that one that Denman put in.
Okay, lovely stuff. And Tom, very quickly for you, Cheltenham moment.
Not that's for sure. Oh So Risky, winning the Triumph Hurdle, 1991. I'm an old man, but that was I took a train from Cardiff University to Cheltenham. So I had 20 quid in my pocket. It was a tenner to get in, and I knew Oh So Risky was going to win, and then I had a great day. We all went out, all me and my pals went out in Cheltenham. So Oh So Risky in the 1991 Triumph Hurdle was my thing. And there's my dog. Hello, doggy.
In agreement, very much in agreement. And David, what's yours then?
My Cheltenham memorable moments, they're far too numerous. All the best moments are the ones I can't remember.
Okay, very good. We'll get the Cheltenham moments in then with your chance to win a big prize at the festival. Anyway, that brings an end to the show. We'll be back on Monday night for more Cheltenham preview action. But thank you to Graeme, Tom and David, and thank you to everyone watching at home. Best of luck this weekend. See you on Monday.